Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Myung Hwan Kim, a prosecutor in this murder and attempted robbery case. And this case is actually hard to the prosecutor. The core issue is not whether this is actually murder and attempted robbery case. That's not the core issue, but the core issue is defendant identification. Because prosecutor, I am trying to prove that the two defendants are real defendants. But at the same time, defense will negate and say that the two dependent, alleged dependents, are not real dependents. Because there is a alibi defense, because there is one witness who was saying that that person saw the two men at almost at the same time at a different place. So if he's, I will say just he, if he is right, then the two men could not have committed the crime. So I should negate that alibi defense. So that's the core issue of this case. So I will show you and compare the credibility of the state's witnesses and the credibility of the defendant's witnesses, and then I will try to negate the credibility of the defendant's witnesses based on something. I will say in detail later. First of all, let me tell you credibility of the state's witness, Laser and the Green. I prepared some presentation, but unfortunately, as you see here, it's not convenient, but I can explain to you. That night, that the crime night, Laser, who is the victim's husband, picked two photos, and which were the two photos represented Hudson Buckner, alleged the defendants, and Laser and Green is actually bystander. Laser and Green pointed at the same two men in the lineup. That was also that night. And there is the procedures that night. For example, photo identification and arrest warrant and search and lineup. There is no constitutional violation. But whether there was a constitutional violation or not is not core issue in this matter. Again, Green was just a bystander. That is important because bystander means Green, Laser did not know each other before. So that is important point. And I'm further saying about the credibility of the state's witnesses. While arrested, the two men mentioned the older lady who was a victim, meaning they knew the victim. And then police found a revolver in their department. The revolver was the same type used in the killing. And also, the police found a black leather jacket was also the same type worn during the crime. And the parked car was the same. I mean, the car matched Green's description because Green saw that car in a far away, even though far away. And Laser and Green both perceived some black or dark jackets. They do not remember exactly, but they both recognized some black or dark jackets. So such a series of coincidences are really statistically rare. So meaning objectively that is trustworthy, to be trusted, and then reasonable. We could say it reasonable. But unfortunately, there is an attack of alibi defense. Actually, the crime time was between 3:15 and 3:20 p.m. February 14. Again, 3:15 and 3:20. But Barr was the defendant witness who said the opposite thing. He said Hudson and Buckner at a different place from after 3 p.m. and then they were together up to 20 minutes. But interesting is there's just one more. Hudson, one of the defendants, said he and Buckner actually died, just some days ago, arrived at that different place at that day after 2 p.m. and that they did not leave until 3 p.m. Think about that. The crime time was 3:15 to 3:20, but they said here they did not leave at different place until 3 p.m. And what is funny is the distance of the two different places are around 5 miles, and then from that different place to Lazar's store would take around 15 minutes by car. So physically impossible, meaning if a defendant's witness is saying is correct, physically impossible that the two defendants committed the crime. So the whole bottom line, the whole issue is whether the alibi defense could be dependent, could be trusted or not. Here, just briefly, let's see California jury instruction about the alibi defense. Even though you cannot see, the presentation, I can just read it briefly. If a defendant contends he did not commit crime and contends that he was somewhere else, then the state must prove that the defendant was there, present, and committed the crime. So, prosecutor, I should prove otherwise. So that is a big burden to me. But here, could you see the reasonable doubt here? In order to alibi defense is valid, that alibi defense should have a reasonable doubt that the defendant was at other place at that crime time. So important thing is reasonable. But think about that. If somebody is giving alibi defense, if that somebody is family member or close friend or kind of the acquaintance, the associate, then jury may question their credibility. So this is an important actually thing to see. That is an important issue. That is saying simply suggesting an alibi will not automatically erase a mountain of other evidence that conclusively proves the alibi is false. So let me give you some points that that defendant's witness, whose name is Barr, said something odd. So he said, can you see? He knew them for a long time, meaning that witness kind of a friend, with the two defendants, because he said we grew up in the same neighborhood, and I have known them for a long time. The witness said that's a good point. Weakened prosecutor and jurors could raise suspicion. And one more thing is, what is more suspicious thing is the witness got a letter from Johnny, one of the defendant. I did get a letter from Johnny last week, and Johnny said it's not. Just let me read, because I can't distort the witness saying. He said how lousy the jail is, and how he shouldn't be there because he had nothing to do with the murder of that lady. So there is a letter between the defendant, one of the defendant, and the witnesses. And then, the witness said, I was in every room, the two defendants' room, in every room in their apartment, meaning the witness was as close, even though he says he's not kind of a friend with the two defendants, but he already knew for a long time, and also he got a letter from one of the defendants, and he was there in every room of the defendant in their department, meaning we can't trust the what the witness said. The witness said the two defendants were at a different place, almost the overlapping time, and the two different places distances are 5 miles, and by car at that afternoon it would take 15 minutes. If they are all true, they could not, the defendant could not committed that crime. But as you jurors, ladies and gentlemen, as you saw, we reasonably suspect the credibility of the witnesses. So again, the Green and the Lager said and pointed consistently, and that night they pick photo, and they pointed at the same two men, and also they found by the search they found a revolver, and also a black jacket, and also the car, and those are just matching the two defendants which who really committed the crime. So ladies and gentlemen, again, this issue is not which charge, but this issue is defendant identification, and then comparing those evidences, the defendants are the true real defendants, so they committed murder. Actually, that is felony murder, but again, that's not the important issue. Felony murder, and they just failed to rob at that store, and killed Sarah, and then they took off, meaning they attempted a robbery. So, ladies and gentlemen, one man died, but the other man should be charged, should be convicted murder, actual felony murder, and attempted the robbery. Thank you.